Hello, my friends. This is Andy coming to you live from, where am I? La Habra, California. we, in law enforcement, called it Guadalajara. But Guadalajara. Um, we called Anna Slime, Anna Crime. We had different names. Oh, Jack Hibbs is going live right now. How dare he go live when I'm going live? I'm going to see Jack Hibbs tonight. Tonight, Charlie Kirk is speaking at Calvary Chapel Church in Chino Hills. And you should be there if you're not planning on going. And so I had a couple minutes to kill. So obviously I'm going to be at that event. It's at 7 p.m. tonight at Calvary Chapel Church. Charlie Kirk will be there speaking. But since I had a little bit of time to kill before I'm going to pick up my son, my 14-year-old son's going to go with me to hear Charlie speak. And I just wanted to come on because as I was thinking of going into a couple stores here just for a few seconds. And I was, of course, listening to the radio and watching Dan Bongino. And, I always think, right? I've talked about this before, that either Democrats are either actually dumb and we just didn't realize it, or they're pretending to be dumb. And it's just, I don't understand the dynamics and why that is. But you would think the smart ones, the ones that actually have some intelligence, that have maybe been fooled for a short period of time, that they would finally be embarrassed. You would think at some point, feel free to comment and let me know that you're watching, where you're watching from. I'd appreciate that. That helps. Oops, I put up the wrong thing here. Hold on. There we go. I'm trying to get comments to come back up. There we go. So please comment. Please let me know you're watching, where you're watching from, what your thoughts are. And I watched the hearings yesterday of Attorney General Barr, and it wasn't maybe a few Democrat congressmen. And hey, David, nice to see you. I'm not driving. I'm sitting in a parking lot because I'm killing time. And so it didn't take me long to think, gosh, at least we got to be embarrassed for that Democrat. They ask a question, right? He's there to answer questions in a hearing, right? They've been waiting for him for months to come to this hearing. He's finally at the hearing. They ask him a question, but when he answers, they want their time back. They claim their time back. Hey, Carl, nice to see you. And Amy, nice to see you. So happy to see you guys here. And yes, I am, but I'm parked in a parking lot. And you think, okay, that guy, whoever voted for that guy has to be embarrassed. Whoever that was, I forget who the first few were. Well, of course, you had the nimwit who leads the stupid thing. What the hell is his name? Nadler. Now, I doubt he even got in a car accident. I want proof that he got in a car accident and he was late because of the car accident. I think he wasn't prepared for the hearing is the problem. I see that David just sent me an attachment or a picture. I want to see proof that he was in a car accident. All right. So whoever voted for him, I mean, at what point will you be embarrassed that you vote for that guy? He's been around for years, I think. I don't know how long. He used to be really, really fat, and now he's still kind of heavy, but he's not as fat. And he's just a mumble mouth, dimwit, stupid, one of the stupidest people on the planet. And at some point, and I'm not just calling, he really is a dumb person. I mean, I don't understand. At some point during the hearing, one of the Republican congressmen, I think it was Jim Jordan, was saying, why just let the guy answer? You brought him here to answer questions, and you're not allowing to answer. And he says, we're not going to listen to your rude remarks. Wait, who? Right? Is it possible he doesn't know what rude means? Do you think that that's possible, that he doesn't know what the word means? Is he that dumb that he doesn't know what it means? And so you have that. Then you have a guy from Colorado, whoever that nimwit was, right? Just a ridiculous human being. I'm trying to remember. I wrote down at home because I wanted to do a show on this and didn't realize I was going to be on the road so early. Again, whatever his question was just one of the most ridiculous questions I heard all day. And again, not allowing Attorney General Barr to answer the questions. You had this other guy, that's some Italian guy who has a really high-pitched, girly voice, and just rattling on, right? Rattle, 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 rattle. And then every time General Barr would try to speak and answer a question, he goes, no. And then he says, isn't it true that that they found that there was no political bias in the hearing in regard to the Mueller investigation? And General Barr said, no, that's not what he said. he said in the beginning it seemed that way, but as time went on, they realized that, Strzok and a number of other people had political bias. That's what actually he testified to. And then when he tried to correct him, he goes, "No, you're wrong. You're wrong." And he tried to tell him to shut up. Like, do you not do your homework? Hey, Melissa, it's nice to see you. Do you not do your homework? And again, many of you may not know, or you might know that I testify in court cases all over North America, all over the United States, and I'm constantly in federal court and state court. I've told people this a number of times. I was supposed to be in that federal court that is under fire up in Portland, Oregon. I was supposed to be there last week, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. And so I'm in these court cases. And one of the most important things that you know as an attorney or even a detective in many cases is you don't ask a question that you do not know the answer to. And so, again, when I'm getting into this point about are they finally embarrassed? Are Democrat voters finally embarrassed of their choices? Because, again, Donald Trump has done a great job of exposing how stupid and ridiculous these politicians are that you have voted for and put in these positions of power, that they are as dumb as rocks. Of course, they've not done anything else other than have been political hacks. Some of them attorneys. And a question who gave them their credentials for being an attorney, because they don't act like anybody I've ever seen, especially in these hearings yesterday, of someone who knows what the hell they're doing in regard to asking questions of somebody that they want actual answers from. There was no way in hell any of the Democrats in Congress yesterday in question General Barr wanted him to actually answer any questions. They wanted to make statements, but why tie up Congress, or that area of Congress, or that branch of Congress for 5, 6, 8 hours, however long it was, for something that you did not have any intention of actually happening, or of having something actually a result, right? If you want to get out statements, just get on television or go on CNN or go in MSNBC and make a statement, because that's all they were doing. And anytime he goes, no, like anytime you want to answer the question, whether he was agreeing with them or not, oh no, my battery's almost dead, I got to plug it in. Whether they wanted to answer or not, they didn't there was no common sense whatsoever. And you would think, and I'm hoping that there are finally some Democrats are embarrassed by who it is they voted for and put in office, because you did not obviously do your homework. You did not really look in to see whether or not these people had any intelligence, because again, every single one of them were exposed yesterday for both being as dumb as rocks and biased and not really wanting any answers on any question to find out what General Barr is doing in regard to, quelling some of the rioting and looting and destruction of federal property, to using, federal police to clear an area around the White House. Who is dumb enough to not understand that when you have a riotous crowd getting in on the actual property of the White House, and you can see that they're violent, that they're throwing rocks and they're throwing bottles, who in their right mind as an American does not see the need to push the perimeter of a violent crowd who's shown that they're going to be violent, has shown that they cannot be trusted, even though there are some peaceful people there, that it didn't need to be pushed out? And then you could just continue to have this stupid argument that it was because the president wanted to take a picture. They've told you in so many different ways, not just General Barr, but any other, the park police, chief or leader, or whoever that is, all told you that decision was made before the president at the last minute decided, hey, I'm going to go to the church. None of what happened prior to that was because of what they've told you that. I know you don't want to believe it. I know you have these speaking points that you want to point out and say, but people were gassed. When they told you to move, why didn't you move? Right? It's like the guy in Atlanta, when we said, put your hands behind your back. Why didn't you put your hands behind your back? You decided to fight. Like, what is it you don't understand about lawful orders to disperse, lawful orders to move, lawful orders to stop throwing Molotov cocktails at a federal building and that you are gassed, right? They talk about the wall of moms, right? There's no doubt in my mind that the wall of moms are and female Antifa and female BLM who put on shirts that said we're moms and pretended to be moms and created this wall and purposefully put themselves in a position where they could be gassed or pushed or whatever it was that ended up happening. I actually have not seen a video of that happening, but there's no doubt that they had an agenda and were not, your typical moms. I don't know a mom here in Orange County that would say, you know what, tonight we're going to go to where the rioting is happening and where, things are being caught on fire and where people are throwing bottles of urine on police officers. You know what? I feel like I need to go put myself in between the rioters and the law enforcement. First of all, maybe they deserve to be gassed because they're morons, just like the Democrats that we saw yesterday on Capitol Hill, right? Maybe they're just that dumb. What about the military guy, the guy wearing the Navy shirt? You don't think that guy bought that Navy shirt at Walmart before he went there and put, I'm Navy, I am Navy, and I'm going to go point in the cop's face and call him horrible names and get pushed and get shot with, pepper spray, whatever it was that happened to him. I don't even know what happened. I don't even care. You're an idiot, right? At what point are you going to be embarrassed by these speaking points, by the decisions that are being made just in yesterday? When are you going to be embarrassed by the fact that they completely created a false investigation in regard to the president before he became president and at the beginning of his presidency and spied on him? At what point are you going to say, you know what? It's hard to really support a political party that's spying on a president, regardless of what party, right? At what point are you going to say, you know, that is wrong? It is wrong to use the FBI, the DOJ, the DEA, the CIA. Did I say DOJ? I'm not sure. I might have. At what point are you going to say, you know what, that's not right. It's not right that you did that during the transition, you had no intention of having a lawful, a smooth transition between one president. There was no intention ever to give them information. As a matter of fact, if you thought there was some spying going on with Russia, why didn't you give them that information? If you thought that General Finn was a spy for Russia, would that not be something you would tell the president instead of not doing that and hiding it and instead using it to spy on the president? So at what point, Democrats, are you going to stop supporting this these horrific actions against the Republic of the United States of America? At what point are you going to finally say, okay, all right, you're right. We've been lied to. CNN has lied to us. Comey lied to us. The announcers on these news channels have been lying to us for 3.5 years. And you know what? We're finally embarrassed. We're finally embarrassed that we believed it, and stand up to it and say, okay, we finally understand. We've been told that Donald Trump was a racist. He has done nothing in his entire life to show that he's racist. Nothing, right? He may not like the way he speaks and says things that it sounds, you could twist it around to make it racist. But he's, if you look at the policies they've done for the Hispanics, for the blacks, for low income areas, and school choice is all for low income black areas to make them better, not to make them worse. And at every chance that the Democrats get, they block it and don't allow it to happen. All right, at what point do you say, we've been told, and Biden just did it the other day and said he's the most racist president we've ever had? Really? You, Biden, the one who said that if you don't vote for me, you're not black. You, who has one of his closest friends and the person that he had high praises for was a leader for the KKK. And you're standing there in front of a camera saying that Donald Trump is a racist. That everybody involved in the Mueller case, everybody involved in creating the Steele dossier, everybody involved in the Russia hoax, everybody involved in the Ukraine impeachment hearings, everybody involved in creating the lies that were involved, all know each other, everyone. And they were all used over and over again to create these different things to try to bring down the president of the United States. That the Clintons and some of their employees would move around and be a part of either Adam Schiff's organization, part of his staff, who would then leave and be part of this Brooks, was it Birkin? I get whoever actually wrote the Steele dossier was actually people that worked for Hillary Clinton and President Clinton, that they now work for the organization that created the Steele dossier and then called it the Steele dossier and pretended that this guy wrote the whole thing, which he maybe had one part of it, maybe a couple parts of it, that there's no embarrassment. And you're thinking, oh, I hope they don't find out that you're mad that they found out the truth, that everything was fake. And yet none of this embarrasses you or concerns you that this is happening in our America. And again, I know for months and months and months, I've said I'm separating Democrat politicians and lunatic liberals and the far left people and BLM and they're all, all my friends. I'm going to separate the voters. No, you know what? I'm done. You're all the same. Whether you're BLM, whether you're Antifa, Democrat, voter, politician, you're all the same. You're all horrible, miserable people. And if you do not speak up and against what it is your Democratic Party is doing, you're part of the problem. You are seriously part of the issue and part of the problem that is occurring in our country right now. Lori Lightfoot, this moron in Chicago, who's blaming, of course, she takes none of the blame. She's got to blame neighboring states now. That is because of them that they have violence in Chicago. She's made this claim that they have no background investigation. There's not a state in the union that doesn't have a background investigation. You are an idiot. And again, I could go on with her because she is so stupid and so dumb. And again, you got to be embarrassed. Like everybody, I would think that if you voted for her, you have to be embarrassed. If you have any conscience, if you have any conscience, if you have any common sense, and you voted for her, you've got to be embarrassed. If you voted for de Blasio, if you voted for Gavin Newsom, if you voted for the idiot, the mayor in Seattle or Portland, you have to be embarrassed. I don't understand how you're not embarrassed and ashamed of yourself of what it is you're done. I got to see what Rich wrote here. Oh man, if the Democrats haven't been embarrassed yet, there's no way they'll be embarrassed. At some points, Rich, at some points, you think that there's got to be this one breaking point, like what's his name? I just said his name. What's his name? I don't know why I can't remember these stupid people's names because they're they're all the same. They're all the same. Nancy Pelosi and Cuomo and de Blasio and Newsom and gosh, the guy I just said his name. The guy in Congress yesterday, who the lead dude over there, the soup sandwich. Anyway, he says on camera that it's a myth that what's happening in Portland is myth, that it's not happening. Jordan had to show him the video. Hey, this is what you're calling a myth. All this destruction, throwing urine and throwing bombs and prying open doors that are chained shut to the criminal house, the federal courthouse, and throwing in bottles of gasoline, and then shooting in a rocket, an illegal firework rocket to catch it on fire. Nadler, thank you. Oh my God. I can't remember. Thank you so much, Tracy. Oh my gosh, that guy drives me crazy. I think I want to pretend he doesn't exist. I don't know what it is, but I often blank on his name for some reason. I got to put something else to it. Nadler rhymes with something. I don't know. I can't come up with anything right now, but he's an idiot. That he says that it's a myth. And he said that more than once, and others have said it, that it doesn't exist, that it's not happening. What are you talking about? You have two federal officers who were blinded by the powerful lasers that they're using, and they may lose their eyesight for the rest of their life. Like, you don't care, right? You really don't care. I have Democrat friends who could care less that their Democrat people on the ground are harming police officers, hitting them with canes, blinding them, and throwing explosives at them, throwing urine on them. And my Democrat friends, who some of them I used to think had some intelligence, don't care. That it is the craziest thing. They're friends of mine. They know I'm a law enforcement officer. I've spent time with some of these people, And just simply that you are supporting your party is telling me that you do not care about law enforcement, you do not care about law and order, you do not care about this country, and you're looking forward to of it going down in flames. And you've not been embarrassed. You've not thought, finally, this yesterday. Rich, you may be right that yesterday, if you weren't embarrassed, if finally with what you saw yesterday, I don't know if you watched it, but I'll be glad to show some highlights of it later on. I can't do it on my phone. That had to be the thing to show you, right? To really demonstrate to you how ridiculously moronic and stupid your leadership is there in Congress and the Senate. And there are some dummies and Republicans too that I don't, of course, you got nitwit Romney, who he's actually a Democrat. I don't know what the hell he's doing in the Republican Party, but he's actually a Democrat. That there are a couple of those people that I don't trust and don't care for. That draining the swamp actually is a thing, really is a thing. It is one of the craziest things I've ever seen. That you could care less about law enforcement so much that you're supporting these people throwing crap, literally throwing feces on them and catching them on fire. So what about the Republicans and all the nonsense they spread? Trump embarrasses me. Oh, okay. So what? Like, what are they? Give me some nonsense they're spreading. Give me an example of the nonsense that they're spreading. This is one of the things I love to do because I want to hear it. I want to hear what the nonsense is. I've tried to get other people. I was at a 4th of July party where somebody said, he keeps saying these things. And I said, like what? Well, he says lots of things. Well, okay, give me one. Well, I can't give you one. Well, why can't you give me one? I mean, you feel so strong about this. You feel so passionate that you hate Trump. But what did he say? Well, he raped 25 people. Really? He's a sexual predator and he's president of the United States. They've come up with no evidence. Really? I know that you can say names, you can say anything, but where, again, if there was all this evidence, how did he ever become president of the United States? A felon, a convicted felon cannot become the president of the United States. Okay, so if that's not it, what else? Give me the other nonsense that they spread. I mean, again, if there's one or two of misspoken, of saying something wrong, and Biden saying, if you don't vote for me, you're not black, isn't embarrassing enough. If is saying that the rioting in Portland is not actually happening, if that's not embarrassing and enough. I mean, those things are actually happening. We can see those. I know that yesterday they talked about, well, he said to inject bleach. Somebody said, yeah, he never said that either. There are ways of disinfecting blood. There are ways. And so what he probably did, and I'm assuming, is that he conflated or connected two things. And in the way it said it, it sounded similar to that. But that's not what he said. He didn't say to inject bleach. He did not say to inject Lysol. You guys are nuts. You've lost your ever-loving mind. You can say, you jump all over something and use that as your only speaking point. Which is, there is a bit of truth to it if you really look into medical issues and how things actually work and what they can possibly do medically. You can see, well, those things can be put together when you're in hundreds of meetings and hours of meetings like the president is. You can look at that and somehow convolute it and twist it so it sounds really bad. But you do not ever have to do that with Biden. You do not ever have to do that with Nadler. You do not ever have to do that with Pelosi. You do not ever have to do that with Comey, that he actually lied and said that he had evidence that the president was a Russian spy. He said he had evidence. Adam Schiff said he had evidence, lots of it, and that is a flat out lie. There was no evidence, but that doesn't bother you. That doesn't bother you. Oh, are you nuts? You're fucking crazy. I mean, sorry, you're crazy. My filter fell off. I'm so sorry. My filter set off. But give me something. Give me the nonsense. I'm waiting for it. I need the nonsense. I need to see what it is that you think is nonsense. That none of that is that none of that pisses you off. None of that gets you angry. What I just said. I'm gonna have to start driving because I got to pick up my son. Then that's what I love. That's why I never kick off any of my Democratic friends, because they are so full of gold and allow me to have these moments where I say, well, okay, I want to see it. So I need to get my sunglasses there. I was in the shade and now I'm not. And so I'm still waiting. I'm leaving that comment up because I'm waiting for the comment. I need to hear the nonsense. I need to see the nonsense, and I need to see the proof. Right? They always say they have this stuff, and then when you give them facts that that's not what happened, or that's not what's said, or there's some other thing that you need to consider when you're using these things, then they call you a jerk. Then they say, "Well, you're an asshole. How dare you show me facts? I don't. You're ruining my argument if you give me facts." And so now I can't look at the comments. I'm sorry, and I can't see what you're saying. But I'm going to sign off now. I thought I'd be much shorter. So I'm going to go see Charlie Kirk over at the church. If you ever come up, anybody that's watching this who's a Democrat, that come up with things that you can say that again, not the stupidity of injecting Lysol, or that is a tired, dumb argument that we know is just based on bull baloney. That he's raped, 25, 30 women, that he's actually poor. I've heard that one. I've heard a lot of different things, and I just laugh that he puts children in, dog crates. That is just all nonsense. I would love to see it. Is he a great guy? Is he perfect? Was he great as a millionaire bachelor, or even when he was married? Did he make good decisions? Absolutely not. But if we got rid of every man and woman who had an affair in politics, who would we have? Right? We would never had we never would have had a JFK. We never would have had, again, Martin Luther King would never have been respected. I can go on with that too. So you can come up with, well, he's just a horrible man, that he just made bad decisions and that he did these things as a husband. Okay, what? Okay. You can say that about prophets in the Bible. But he's a horrible person. There were murderers that became prophets. There were rapists that became prophets. I'm pretty sure there was. There were all these people, but they became prophets, and books were written about them in the Bible. I'm not saying that Trump is a prophet, but he is definitely one of the best presidents we've ever had, regardless of his flaws. Right? You're going to tell me a Christian man who has made some horrible mistakes and done some horrible things, but I believe now I am much better than I used to be. I try much more, much harder to be a better person. That just being a better person doesn't make you Christian. Doesn't mean you're going to go to heaven either. But that's what our world is made of. Flawed people that have made mistakes and may exaggerate, may have had bad things that we did in our past. But now, what are we doing now? Right? What are we doing now? And what he is doing now is amazing. Whether you want to believe it or not, there is a list of things that he has done in 4 years, and almost 4 years, 3.5 years. He's done more for our country in 3.5 years than if not every president, then many presidents. And he is on the list of getting the most done in 3.5 years. Did he do some horrible things possibly before he became president? I'm guessing so. He said some bad things that I've heard I've heard chiefs of police that were patrol officers when we worked together that said some really bad things when we were in the locker room together that are now chiefs of police. I have people that I know that are now mayors of cities who I knew before they became mayor, and they also said some horrible things, but they're doing great work. So what are people doing now? And what is he doing now? He has done nothing but good for this country, regardless of what it is that you think. Does he say some things that aren't really kind of kosher? No, but that's how people talk. That's how the world talks. So get over it. And there you go. All right. I got to stop now because I'm passing too many cars. All right. I got to go. Hey, thanks for watching. I'll let you in on some Charlie Kirk stuff later on. And I'll look at your comments when I come to a stop. I see some long ones there. So I want to see what they say. All right. Share this out, please. I'm getting throttled by all the platforms that I'm on, YouTube and Twitter, and they're blocking my sorry, there's another siren going by. I got to pull over. They're blocking my videos. All right, talk to you later. Take care. Bye.